Hello, Geminis, and welcome to this, your early to mid-July reading and predictions. This video is intended for anybody born under the sign of Gemini, as well as anybody who has a significant amount of Gemini elsewhere in their charts. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for returning and continuing to support my channel. And for those of you who are new here, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. My name is Marnie. I am the Intuitive Butterfly. Okay, I'm coming to you this month from beautiful Athabasca, Alberta, Canada. You may hear some noises in the background. Unfortunately, I have been relegated to recording my videos inside, despite the fact that we have just passed the summer solstice, and my intention was to record everything outside for a couple of months. But there are thunderstorms threatening in the area, and I didn't want our reading to get rained out. So here I am inside. It's not surprising that thunderstorms are threatening in the area at this time, given that we are only a few short days away from the full thunderstorm moon arriving on July the 3rd. It is also known as the full buck moon, depending on your traditions. But yeah, in a lot of traditions, the July full moon is called the thunderstorm moon. So yeah, any of you Geminis out there who are affected by full moon energies, just a heads up, July the 3rd, there's going to be some wild energies coming in. Okay, Gemini, let's get started. We're going to pull cards for 6 different areas of your life. I'm going to pull all of the cards now. I'm going to leave them all sitting on my desk face down. And then I will turn each card or each pile of cards over as I'm ready to actually read them. Let's dive in. Where are we going first? Okay. Almost everyone has been called to the fairy deck for their first cards this month. It's interesting. Okay, Gemini. Where are the Geminis now? What energies are influencing Gemini? What's going on with Gemini? All the way through the deck here. Excuse me. Right. So we do have 2 cards that have come out. One of them's come out in reverse. We will wait and see whether we're actually going to read it in reverse or not. Next deck. Okay, I am going to be looking over here. Unfortunately, my work surface is very small, so I do have a side table set up with all of my extra sets of cards. Okay, what are you focusing on? What are the Geminis focusing on for early to mid-July? Early to mid-July, focus. Oh, third time's a charm. Let's go through the deck one more time. Nope, we can't force the deck to speak to us. So we'll set that one aside. Where else can we go for what the Geminis are focusing on? Oh, okay. We'll try the animals. Let's see if the animals want to speak to us, Gemini. Yep, I guess so. What else are Geminis focusing on here for early to mid-July? Is there anything else here? Animals, is there anything else you'd like to show us? Just the one card. Interesting. Okay. All right. The next card that we're going to pull for you is cards of difficult influences. Where are we going? I'm getting called to a purple deck over here. Unfortunately, I set up all of my purple decks in a row, and so it's a little bit more difficult to determine which one is actually calling out because I see a visual in my mind and I see purple, knowing I'm getting called towards one of those decks. Difficult influences, yeah. All right, so Gemini, we've got a lot of cards that have come out here for your difficult influences. So I am going to collect up these cards that have come out and give them a shuffle, except for one, because it really flipped out. All right. If you have this many things going on in difficult influences, you're in for kind of a rough month. And I really don't sense that that's what's happening. So Gemini, let's narrow this down a little bit. Okay. Anything else coming up for difficult influences for the Geminis? Yep, that card. Anything else? Anything else? No. Okay. The next card that we're going to pull for you is messages that you need to hear at this time. This is also, a card that just makes sense. It ties things together, but yeah, messages you need to hear at this time, Gemini. These cards are a little bit sticky because it's been humid the last couple of days and just the type of surface that's on these cards. All right, do you see how we've got two cards here that decided not to go into the deck? So we are going to pull those two cards out. They didn't fully jump out for us, but they also decided not to join their friends in the rest of the deck. The next cards that we're going to pull for you, Gemini, are going to be cards of unexpected. What is unexpected for you? Unexpected influences and insights. Okay, so we do have two cards that have come out here, but I have another deck that's calling loudly, indicating it wants to have a card pulled. So we're going to pull one more here for you for unexpected Gemini. Yeah, look at that mess. Yep, and there they go. Okay, so the same thing happened. We had about half the deck fall out. So typically when that happens, it's because your card is in this smaller portion of the deck. Let's go through this. Right. All nicely mixed. And here we go. There we go. All right. Okay, and the final cards that we're going to pull for you, Gemini, are going to be the cards of your general overall outcome. These are cards that predict or project farthest into the future, and we take a look at where you're projected to be at and energies that will be influencing you come the middle of July. Where are we going? Okay, yeah, we're going back over here to this deck that did not want to give us a card earlier. Okay, and now it just gave us a whole whack of cards, including another card sticking up. So let's have a look at what we have here. That was the card that was sticking up. And then we had all of these come popping out. Make sure they're all sitting the right way. Mix them up a little bit. All right. Is there anything else for the general overall outcome for Gemini for mid-July? Yeah, there was a hard, that card's not going back in. Okay, let's get started, Gemini. Okay. Okay. So, Gemini, these are the cards for where you're at now, what's going on with you at this time. You have the 10 of Autumn here, also known as the 10 of Pentacles. This is the card of planning for the future, and in particular, planning for the future financially and with regards to your job or your career. Okay. This is a job of saving for, or sorry, this is a card for saving for a rainy day and making sure that you're setting enough money aside for children, loved ones, and just this is a card of looking towards the future. Now, the other card that you have here, Gemini, at this time is the Justice card in reverse. The issue with the Justice card coming up in reverse is normally the Justice card in the upright position is all about paying attention to the details, making sure that all of your I's are dotted, making sure that all of your T's are crossed, and bringing in something that is balanced, right? We want to balance the scales of justice, and we want to make sure that whatever we're doing is fair for all of the parties involved. Now, you getting this card in reverse next to the 10 of Autumn or the 10 of Pentacles is telling me that something is unbalanced in your life right now, specifically related to your finances or your job, and specifically related to putting money away for the future, whether that be putting money away. Now, full disclosure here, I am not a certified financial advisor. I am not allowed to give you formal financial advice. All I'm doing is reading the cards for you. I recommend and highly, highly, highly suggest that if you are going to make any changes with regards to your finances or your career, you do so by way of going within yourself and consulting with certified experts. What I am telling you is that the cards are indicating that right now in early to mid-July is a good time for you to be looking at RRSPs, 401ks for the Americans, and making sure that you have set aside money for the future. And in so doing, making sure that whatever you are setting aside, you have really, really read the fine print. This Justice card is saying make sure that you are reading the fine print and that your finances are protected. Okay. And with regards to whether this can be construed as formal financial advice, this is common sense. It really is common sense, Gemini. If you are dealing with setting money aside for a rainy day, you want to make sure that whatever avenue you are using for the purposes of setting that money aside is fair and just, and that you understand all of the terms and conditions of wherever you are parking your money and whatever you're doing with it. Okay. Like I said, I mean, is this formal financial advice? No, it's good, solid, common sense. Read the small print before you put your John Hancock on there. Okay. But this is the cards that are indicating where you are at now here at the end of June as I'm recording this for you. And some of the energies from this you may pull forward into the rest of July. Let's have a look at what you are concentrating on. And what you are concentrating on is the Temperance card. What is the Temperance card? Well, I can tell you that in the deck from where I pulled these two cards, the Temperance card is a card that across the top, instead of saying temperance, it says balance. And you have the Justice card here in reverse, indicating that things may be out of balance, right? Scales of justice. We want to balance things. We want things to be fair. And what you are focusing on is the Temperance card. Now, this says new realms and new dreams, represented by the swan for the Temperance card. But in order to be able to manifest into new realms and new dreams, we require balance. That's what the Temperance card is all about. And so this is what you are focusing on. This is your focus for the month of July. Difficult influences. Difficult influences. Okay. The first card in your difficult influences, Gemini, is narrow pathway. Tread thoughtfully. And what this card is telling me is that with regards to your money and finances at this time, and where to potentially park your money, and how you're going to save for that future rainy day, that you may have some blinders on. And I already said it with this Justice card in reverse here, that you may not be paying as much attention to the small details as perhaps you should be. And thus you have this narrow pathway card coming up in your difficult influences, indicating that, okay, what keeps coming up for me in my mind over and over and over again as I'm talking about money and finances and saving for a rainy day is I can actually hear a whole bunch of Geminis watching this video going, I don't have any money to put away. How am I supposed to save? I'm barely making ends meet now. Okay. And I can tell you from experience, and now living mostly as a minimalist, that you probably have more money than you think you do. I know that there is a portion of the population that really doesn't, and they are scrimping and saving, and they are already, you know, living as minimally or as minimalist as possible. But there are a lot of people out there who can consult with financial experts and find the extra money to be able to save for that rainy day. And unfortunately, we have our society and our belief system around money has been of a very narrow view, right? Blinders on. This is the only way that we can do things. You have to walk this very specific path that has been set out for you ahead of time, and you have no choices. And that's just not realistic. That's not reality. And that's not where we are at, Gemini. So Gemini, I encourage you to look at alternatives to find a balanced way forward, right? Especially with this Temperance card here and the Justice card in reverse. It's about finding that balance, balancing our budget, but also finding that balance going forward of being able to experience joy while at the same time balancing our budgets. You have joy and delight in your difficult influences. Okay. A lot of the times when we are caught up in budgetary constraints, we forget to have fun. And the reality is that you can still have a lot of fun. There's a lot of enjoyment that you can get, especially in the summer months in the Northern Hemisphere, for free. You don't have to spend a lot of money in order to be able to experience joy and delight. So consider that, Gemini. Look into free things that you can do. I know that for Canadians, Canada Day is right around the corner. In fact, Canada Day will be a day or two after I release this video. And free parades, free candy for the kids at most of the parades. Almost every city and town in Canada has something special going on. A lot of cities and towns have entertainment for the kids, bouncy castles. Even if there's a charge for the bouncy castle, it might only be $1 or $2, and your kids get to go have fun, and you can sit there and smile and relish in the joy and delight. Okay. Do you see where I'm going with this? You don't have to go out, pack a picnic lunch. You already have the groceries at home. You don't have to go out and spend $60 at a food truck at one of the Canada Day or the July 4th celebrations, for example, for the Americans. I know a lot of people say, oh my God, if I go down to the parade, it's going to cost me $100 because I'm going to have to buy food and drinks for the kiddies and all of this stuff. And I have to buy tickets for the rides and so on and so forth. But the reality is you can pack a picnic lunch. There are ways to do this, Gemini. Experience joy and delight and bring that into your life every day for the first half of July. You're really, really being encouraged to do that. Let's have a look at messages that you need to hear at this time. Be of service. Oh my goodness. And practice moderation. Isn't it funny or unique or interesting that you have the practice moderation card coming up at the same time that you have the 10 of Autumn or 10 of Pentacles right next to Justice in reverse and the Temperance card or the Balance card coming out? Gemini, this is all about finding balance, practicing moderation, realizing where you can save money every step of the way. There are ways to do it. I know that there's YouTube channels that specialize in minimalism. And unfortunately, we just come from a consumerist society right now. Okay. Being of service. This is also an important card for you right now, Gemini, a message that you need to hear. And this is a card of making sure that despite your own struggles, you are still practicing kindness and compassion with others around you. Being of service is not always about philanthropic work. Okay. If you're not in a position to be doing philanthropic work, you're exhausted, you're working 3 jobs, you're still trying to make ends meet, yada, 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 then it's very difficult for you to be of service in the traditional sense of being a philanthropist and donating money and so on and so forth. I'm sure that some of the Geminis watching this channel are in a position to be able to be of service in a very generous way with their finances. But I also feel that the vast majority of us right now, as the whole world is still reeling and recovering from, in some places, hyperinflation, that being of service in the traditional philanthropic way is not realistic for many of us. But still being of service, okay, I don't know why I'm being told to say this. Being of service can look like, and remember I said that we're looking for free ways to bring joy and delight into our lives. So here's something free that you can do. And I don't know why this is coming up. Really? All right. I don't know if it's going to resonate with you guys or not, but I'm being told to say it. Being of service can look like going along the side of the highway and picking up garbage. Now, in certain communities, you can pick up cans, empty beer cans, empty pop cans, and so on along the side of the highway. And that is a free activity. And then sometimes there's little treasures that you can find. You can even take your kids, make sure that you're practicing proper hygiene and so on with them. And, in some communities, those bottles and cans that have been tossed into a ditch are worth money, right? So it comes full circle. So like I said, I know that there's some of you watching this going, oh my God, what is intuitive butterfly talking about? What's Marnie talking about? This is so not resonating. But I also know that for some of you, this is definitely resonating. Let's have a look at what is unexpected for you. Okay, you have the 3 of Swords. The 3 of Swords is a card of the ending of something. Oftentimes it can be the ending of a relationship or the ending of a certain dynamic within a relationship. It's a card where you may feel cut off and separated from your community, separated from your partner, like you're just not on the same page anymore. Yeah, I mean, the image on this card even is kind of an unpleasant image of a heart with three swords going through it. But the reality is that when this card comes up, it indicates the ending of the dynamic of a relationship, be that a business relationship, a personal partnership, the way that things are going between our family members. And it opens the door to new joy that we can bring into our lives. And the other thing is that being that this is the Three of Swords, as opposed to being the Three of Cups, cups are all about emotions. Swords are all about our mental state, right? What we're thinking about, our thoughts. And so for some of us, the Three of Swords is about us thinking that we are disconnected from our community, but we're really not. We're never really disconnected. All is one, everything is energy. We all know these lessons. Okay, you have the Five of Cups in reverse. This is a card indicating that you may feel hurt or betrayed at some point between July 1st and July 15th. It doesn't mean that you were actually betrayed, but you may be feeling that way. And with this Three of Swords here as well, it is indicating that you're going to have to tread lightly with regards to your interactions with family and friends and even partners, romantic partners, because there's something coming in for you here, Gemini, that is uncomfortable. And what I'm really picking up from these two cards together is that it's not so much a reality that's coming in as more it's a misunderstanding that is going to cause you to think a certain way and feel a certain way, but it's not the real situation that's going on. You have the Waterfall card, which is persistence, and you have the Sun card, which is keep the faith. You have these two cards here also in your unexpected. So in your unexpected for July 1st through July 15th, it looks like there's going to be something happening or occurring that's going to make you feel like you're betrayed, but you're really not. And also, I want to point out that on this particular card, look at the picture on this card, if we can get it to focus. This character has 5 cups, 3 cups here, 2 cups here. Okay. This character is basically crying over spilled milk from his 3 cups without turning around and realizing he still has 2 cups here filled with whatever is there, filled with abundance. Okay. So this is a card about focusing on what you don't have instead of focusing on what you do have. Persistence is coming up for you as an unexpected influence and insight. This is a card of beauty cleansing, using water in order to wash away some of whatever this is, and being persistent and pursuing and just continuing to go forward. And you have the Sun card here, which is represented by faith. Have faith that things are going to be okay, and everything is going okay, and it's going to turn out the way that it's supposed to. Now, going into your final cards, you have your past life guides coming in. It's interesting that you have this card coming in. This card is about karmic lessons. And that is most likely what this is about as well. Okay. This Three of Swords and this Five of Cups is most likely about something karmic. And when you have faith that you have the capacity to learn the lessons intended, you're going to be able to move through this very, very quickly. And your final card is the Archangel Raguel. This is a card of justice. As we begin, justice card right here. So shall we end with the card of justice. What this is telling me, Gemini, is as much as this reading started with the sense that things were out of balance, and as much as it's indicated by your unexpected, indicating things are out of balance, this card coming in as your final card in your reading, let's see if we can get it to come fully into focus for you. Justice, harmony, and solutions is indicating that by the middle of July, things are really, really going to be looking up for you. But there is a little bit of turmoil that's going to happen, but there are lessons in that turmoil. And I want to say they are karmic lessons. They are life lessons. They are soul lessons. And when you fully learn those lessons and integrate them, as indicated that you definitely will by your final two cards, you're going to begin to grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically in leaps and bounds. So with that, Gemini, I'm going to leave off your reading. Thank you so much for joining me and holding out until the end. If this resonated with you, please consider giving me a like and subscribing. And as always, if this resonated with you, you may want to consider having a personal reading, seeing as this was a general reading. And I am available for private consultations. My contact information is down below. I look forward to seeing you again in the